Have you ever felt frustrated managing your animals out on pasture? Or maybe you don't even know where to start. Getting your animals enough feed, overgrazing, rotations, parasites, predators, water, access, all these things can be really, really challenging when you're just getting started. And honestly, they can just be challenging anytime for any of us, no matter how long we've been doing it. But the hub of a successful grazing management system, especially for the homesteader or the small landholder, is rotational grazing. So today I'm going to share several principles that are absolutely essential for a successful grazing program. All right, so principle number one, and it is the starting place. It is the thing that you've got to get right to make many of the other things work well, and that is access. You've got to have proper access in the proper places. The key to access is centrality. Your main access needs to be central to your grazing operation, meaning it kind of needs to go down the middle of it, as much to the middle as possible of your entire grazing system. Now, if you're large system, you're going to have multiple accesses, but for a small landholder, a few acres, you may have one key access point and lane. That should be as close to the center of your land, going through the middle of your land, dividing your grazing operation up. It's going to give you the best access to all of your land, help you distribute water, fencing, all the different things that you're going to need to do, some of the things we're going to talk about today. So you've got to have good access. That access should be at least 16 feet wide. Key principle number 2 is water. You've got to manage your water correctly. What you don't want to do, that I see a lot of homesteaders do, that I did, the mistake I made for years, is hauling water. For a little while, you're getting set up, okay. But you want to get away from hauling water as fast as you can, whether you're hauling it with your body, whether you're hauling it with an ATV or a vehicle. It takes up too much time, it takes up too much resources. You got to get water out to your animals into that rotational grazing system. And whatever your water source is, it might be a pond like this, it might be municipal water, a well, you might have storage tanks. One, have backup. Have a pond, have a tank, have a cistern. Things break. They always break at the wrong time on the hottest days, whatever. Have some storage and some ability to always be able to get water to those animals out there in pasture. And again, don't haul it. Put in some sort of system. Look, you can use hundreds of feet of hosing if you need to. You can use poly pipe. We use above ground poly pipe down our lane. That's one of the reasons that access is so central, because it can minimize the amount of footage that you need to put in water pipes. If you've got central access, you can run a central line, whether that's a hose or a poly pipe. Eventually you may want to dig it in, but that's expensive, takes more resources. And even in cold climates like ours here in North Idaho, we just run it on the ground and we de-winterize it in the winter. But you can just run a pipe or a hose down the center of your lane, and then you can run a hose off of that. And you rarely need to run off of those lanes more than 100 feet. And you set it up so you've got a spigot or an access point, divider, something every 100 feet. And it does not have to be expensive. You can do this all with hoses and splitters if you need to get started. But manage your water well. Make sure you've got some backup. Make sure you get it central, using that lane to get to all your paddocks, and use a hose. It can be low flow. There's all kinds of cool things out there. We're not going to cover all that in that video, but think about water. Think about systems that get the water out to pasture without hauling. It will save you so much time, so much frustration, and of course, make sure you have that backup as well. Things just fail at the worst time, so have plenty of extra water. Okay, well, I hear everything getting going around here, so I'm gonna have to go help out and do chores and come back in a minute and talk about some of those other key principles. You know, one of the challenges for a lot of people is time management. How much time it takes to manage these animals on pasture, especially with rotational grazing. But check it out. My son and I get all our chores done right here out in the pasture in a half an hour. That's moving one cow, but I mean, one, two. Last year we had 2 dairy cows out here, just one this year. Sheep and chickens. And everybody moved. Fences prepared for tomorrow, animals watered, all in under a half an hour. So it takes some time to build your efficiency in your system, but I want you to know that it does not have to be that much time. If you think about feeding each of those animals individually, it would probably take more than that time. They're in different locations, different things going on, you're hauling water, whatever. So it doesn't have to take a lot of time. Third principle is control. Now, control is just fencing. Our fencing right here, all the fencing out there. There's some permanent fencing. There's a lot of portable fencing. So there's a few rules with control, but when we say control, that just means keeping your animals under control, right? Keeping them where you want them, getting them going where you want them to go, keeping them out of places you want. And that is primarily fencing. You've got 2 kinds of fencing, permanent and portable. So rule 1, fence your perimeter of your property or your pasture system in permanent fencing. In whatever system will control the animals that you want to have in there. If you're only going to ever have cows in there, that's one type of fencing. If you're going to have all the way down to chickens or turkeys or smaller animals, that's going to be another type of fencing. But fence your perimeter, your property perimeter, what you know is the perimeter of your pasture system permanently, okay? Do not permanently fence the interior of your pasture, especially the first several years. If you're large, eventually after a few years, you start to notice there's fences you don't ever move. You want to go permanent with those, fine, but start with temporary fencing. Usually that's electric fencing on the interior of your property, divide it up to create your lanes, to create your paddocks and everything. Temporary fencing. And again, you need to use the type of fencing suited to your system. The easiest system is a cow. A cow can work with a single wire. So a lot of people don't want to go to the cow because they're bigger. But for the homestead, a dairy cow is one of the most productive animals on the homestead and one of the easiest to contain and manage out on pasture. Single wire everywhere. It's the lowest cost to invest in. It's the easiest, the less time to move around in. You can follow her up without changing your fencing system with some chickens, meat chickens in a chicken tractor, or egg layers in a shaw. And you've got a nice little system there with eggs, chicken meat, dairy, and if you get that dairy cow bred, a calf. And if you got permanent fencing, let that calf run a little bit with that single wire. That calf can get out and about as long as you got your perimeter contained, or you can do a second wire down below. But point is, don't invest in more fencing than you need and start slow. You know, you've heard me talk about multi-species rotational grazing. A lot of other people, that's the ideal, is to maybe get to a cow, a sheep, chickens, maybe some pigs. But start with what you can work with. Maybe it's not a dairy cow, maybe it's goats, maybe it's sheep and chickens. Every animal needs a different kind of fencing. And we're going to talk about all of that today. But the key thing when we're talking about control is the right fencing for the right animals, and don't overcomplicate your system. The other part of control is power. And people ask how many joules charger I need to get. What do I need to do? Well, I like to get the most power I can. It's good insurance. Okay. Talk to your provider, whoever you're buying your power system from, whether it's online or local. Find out what the charger is, what it's rated to do. And if you're going to spend a little extra money somewhere, buy it in a good quality charger that's well powered. And that's going to help you maintain control. So those are the 3 key principles that you have down. If you don't have those down and you're not mastering those, everything else is a side issue until you have those 3 mastered. You've got good access. It's helping you be efficient. You've got good water delivery. You're not hauling water. And you got a good water system. Get that water out there easily, quickly, low labor. Invest a little bit of money in that. Save up, haul water for a little while if you have to, but save up, and as quickly as you can, go to getting that water piped out there on the ground. You don't have to bury it. It's a whole extra cost, a whole lot of work. If you're in a cold environment like we are, you de-winterize it when it's time, okay? And control, proper fencing for the proper animals. Start with the proper animals that you can control. And that is the foundation to a good rotational grazing system that will help you be successful, and then build into a more complex system, bigger systems over time. One more tip on animal health, particularly regarding to parasites. That's a challenge that people have a lot out on the pasture. Most people graze their pasture too short. So here's the rule of thumb. 3 to 4 inches, air to 4 inches. You don't graze your grass lower than that. Parasites only come up so high on the grass. Don't overgraze your grass. Move your animals on. And that will help with a lot of parasites. Also, do not run your omnivores before your ruminants. Your ruminants go first in a rotation, then your omnivores. So cows, sheep, goats first. Then if you've got pigs or chickens, they come after. Besides that, the chickens help manage the fly population if you run them a couple days after the cow. And that is a phenomenal system, works so well. And that will save you a ton of frustration, fuss, health issues by making sure you keep that grass from getting overgrazed. Not to mention the health of your pasture, right? The longer you leave that blade of grass, the more solar panel there is in that grass, and the more quickly it can recover for your next pass when you rotate back through again in another 30 days or more. Another tip for you there: minimum rotation anywhere, never less than 30 days. Once you leave a piece of ground, don't come back to it for at least another 30 days. I hope that's been helpful. You got some foundational principles: access, water, control. Get those down before you solve any other problems, and it's going to help you along your way. If you want to know more about multi-species rotational grazing, particularly on the homestead, you can check out this video and others right here. I'll see you soon.